Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Evan Freiberger, and this is your 2-day ASAP weather forecast. All right, let's go ahead and hop right into the current conditions. And as you can see, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning over here in North Carolina that is heading towards Raleigh. Next in line is going to be Rocky Mount, Wilson, and Goldsboro. That's for 60 miles per hour winds. Not really too much of a hail threat there. Coming back down to the Georgia and Florida border near Quincy and Bainbridge, we also have another severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be moving off to the east towards Tallahassee next. And then all the way up here in Vermont, of all places, we have another severe thunderstorm warning that is moving up to the north. 60-mile-per-hour winds could be expected out of that. Albro, Enosburg, Highgate, Richford might get into that, but the main areas we're watching for future severe weather is going to be parts of North Carolina here in this blue shade. That is a severe thunderstorm watch. Parts of Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Also, there is a risk throughout the day for severe weather going into Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. Also, small parts there of southern Tennessee and east or western Georgia there. Then in between those areas, there's a small chance for severe weather with Atlanta, Charlotte. No tornado risk for today, so don't have to worry about that. Mainly just damaging winds and hail. All right, now let's go into the future here. First, what we're going to be looking at is the temperatures using the HRRR model. And we're going to be going 2 days into the future here. And you're probably wondering, why 2 days? Well, you see, anywhere really past that, especially during the summer, is pretty inaccurate. So here are the temperatures across the United States. And we're going to move this forward and show you guys what there is to expect. But yeah, moving this forward to the peak heating of today, you can definitely tell it's getting hot out there down in Texas, Arizona, and parts of California there. The rest of the country is also pretty hot, a little bit anomalously hot up here in the northern plains near Montana, going into the Ohio Valley. Continuing to move this forward, you can see that it cools down. It's going to be a nice night out there for lots of people, except around the Phoenix area, still hanging on to some pretty hot temperatures down there. Moving this forward even more, you can see that heat returns and a little bit stronger with 100-degree temperatures probable here in Texas, in Arizona, California, and even getting into the 80s and 90s for a large swath from Arkansas up into Minnesota to South Dakota, all the way to Wisconsin there, with 80s and 90s probably all the way from the southeast up into the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes region, with pretty much the main places staying cool out there is the northwest coast and the northeast. So moving this through, you can see it's going to calm down a little bit, cool down, especially there for the northern plains, the northern parts of the plains as we go into the night. Now let's look at the composite reflectivity. All right, so this is going to be basically future radar out here. And first, what we're going to do before we go over that is we're going to look at the severe weather risk for the next couple of days. Tomorrow's severe weather risk, as you can see, we do have a slight risk for tomorrow. That's going to include parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, parts of New Mexico going into Nebraska, and little parts there of Iowa and South Dakota. Also a slight risk up here for northern Wisconsin. Then we have a marginal risk over here in the Pacific Northwest and the northern plains there for Montana, North and South Dakota, and Wyoming. Then coming down here near the Gulf Coast, we're going to see some of those storms that can pop up over the ocean and move along the shore and potentially cause severe weather as well. And then coming over to the risks for tomorrow, there's a small chance for tornadoes out there, mainly in Nebraska and northern Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. The main risk, though, is going to be these damaging winds and hail. Damaging winds, not so much of a possibility there for Wisconsin, but these yellow colors are 15% and the brown colors are 5%. So there's a little bit of an elevated risk though for hail tomorrow, and then a little bit over here near the Idaho, Montana region as well. So that being said, we're going to go on to day 3. Day 3, you can see there's also a slight risk out there for parts of Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, and northern Kansas there. And that's about it. We don't have too much information. I will say it does kind of seem like, starting on this day and the next couple days after that, potentially could be seeing a lot of mesoscale convective systems, which will bring risks for derecho or wind event type storms. So we're gonna definitely have to keep our eye on that. So over the next 2 days, let's go look at what these storms will look like going into the future. Right, now this is loaded. So you can see I got these storms and rain out there currently. You can see those storms popping up with our severe warned right now. Also down here, having those storms pop up in the southeast. That line's going to move through northern Alabama, parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana, then move into Georgia later on in the day, and also Florida. That's going to pose a severe weather risk coming back over over here. You can see these storms are mainly popping up in North Carolina and moving off to the coast. Looks like Virginia could miss out on some severe weather. There's already a severe weather warning down here for Southern Virginia, so that's probably gonna be the main place that can deal with that. Then now look over here for Maryland and Delaware potential for some stronger storms as we go into 7 p.m. tonight, and then all the way up here in the northeast, and you can see that there's definitely a possibility for some stronger storms up there. And check this out. Even another severe thunderstorm warning just popped up with 60-mile-per-hour winds there. So that's definitely going to continue to be a possibility throughout the day. Moving this even further, those storms move off the coast. These storms over the night lose instability and are not too severe anymore. Then down here, you can see there's still maybe a threat for some thunderstorms in the coast there of Florida and in Alabama, but that should not be as severe as it is going to be during the day. And then coming into the next day, you can see that next severe weather threat pops up, starting to see some stronger storms at around 8 p.m. So this is mainly going to be a nighttime event there from Montana. Also seeing some scattered thunderstorms, which could be severe and could cause a tornado risk over here in Nebraska and Iowa. If we come over to the upper level winds, there's a little bit there. Lower level winds, not too much, but there is still a little bit there. So there's going to be a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. Let's look at the Cape, and there's enough energy out there. So could potentially see maybe a possibility for a briefer and weaker tornado. Also, little line of storms forms down here in Texas, 8 p.m. on the 10th as well. And moving this forward, that could potentially cause some severe weather on the Texas-Oklahoma border near Altus, Vernon, Lawton, and Wichita Falls. And then you can see that there's still some rain up there in the northeast, and those storms continue over there in Montana. But then over here in Wisconsin, you can see those storms are getting ramped up there. Let's kind of look at the environment that is present up here. Yeah, a little bit of a decent amount of upper level winds. The lower level winds are displaced from that, so there's a small chance, but not a big chance. Also, does seem like there could be enough instability up there as well. But yeah, that is it for today's forecast. So if you live out there, make sure you have a plan in place to deal with these severe thunderstorms, and I will see you in 2 days.